Okay, so good evening, everyone. It's lovely to have everybody who is here. I hope you're keeping warm on this cold evening. My name is Tabitha Mbothia, and I'll be the moderator for this session. So, our topic for today will be the regulation of AI in East Africa, and it is a topic that is much debated indeed. So, we shall have our able panelists, our experts, who will be taking us through this topic and this issue. And I hope that we will be learning a lot and perhaps even taking notes. And you'll just take something or two from this. So, as I have said, my name is Tabitha Mbothia, and I am a lawyer. I'm currently in Kenya School of Law, training to be an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. But I'm also passionate about digital rights, matters to do with tech and policy, data protection, privacy, amongst all the rest. So I'll just head into the webinar itself by introducing our speakers for today. So we'll start with the first panelist, who is goes by the name Brian Thuranira, and he is a lawyer at CM Advocates LLP and also a data protection expert with a strong interest in technology and digital law. He also specializes in data protection compliance, technology-related contracts, and regulatory frameworks across Kenya and the East African region. He also creates legal content on social media to promote public awareness and simplify complex legal topics related to digital rights and privacy. I think, especially for us who are on LinkedIn, we really do know him. I really like his posts. They always make me laugh. So thank you so much, Brian. Thank you for joining us. So the second speaker for today is Godwin Segero. So Godwin is the CEO of Mtalek Solutions. He is a legal tech specialist dedicated to transforming legal practice through the responsible use of artificial intelligence. He also holds a Bachelor of Laws degree from Shiraji University and is certified in legal tech and AI for lawyers, law students, and legal professionals. He is the project manager at the AI Magarezani initiative, which is really important, which is a groundbreaking program in empowering inmates in Kenya's prison system with AI knowledge to enhance access to justice. He'll be telling more. He'll be telling us more about it in a few, and then finally we'll have our third panelist, who is Higenyi Simon Kasango. So Simon is a forward-thinking legal professional with a strong passion for the intersection of law and emerging technologies. He is currently a legal associate at Tugune BNC and co-advocates. He holds a Bachelor of Laws degree from Uganda Christian University. He is enthusiastic about shaping the regulatory frameworks that will guide responsible AI adoption in East Africa. So as you can hear, we really do have experts in our midst, and I hope that we will take everything that they give us with a very heavy hand. So I'll just step into it by asking questions, and we'll start with Brian. So hi, Brian.
Hi everyone, how are you? I hope you're all keeping safe. Uh, Thank you, Tabitha. I'm pleased to be here today, and I look forward to having a wonderful conversation with all of you.
Thank you so much, Brian. So let me just take a bite and ask. So, how prepared do you really think are our legal frameworks for AI regulation within the context of East Africa?
Thank you so much, Tabitha, for the question. I would say that as Kenya, we are partially prepared for the AI regulation. I say this because we have the Data Protection Act 2019, And you all know that 2019, it was not a time when AI was so popular as it is right now. So by that you can really tell that we did not envisage, but at that time how AI would be governed. We did not have the capability to like come up with policies to deregulate. So you can see that there are so many gaps which are in the Data Protection Act, which did not adequately prepare for the AI. For example, just a few tools, for example, like ChatGPT. In 2019, we did not have ChatGPT, so the laws have that gap. We do not have an act which provides for regulation of tools like ChatGPT. And right now, you can see like everything that we are using right now. For example, the speeches that people are offering, the even made a post on submissions like in US there was a farm which was punished because they used such ChatGPT to draft submissions and the case laws were existent. So you can see that AI has become really our everyday tool. ChatGPT is like everything right now. If ChatGPT withdrawn, or if it would if the founders of ChatGPT would like say, I am done, you can see how many people ChatGPT has become like the oxygen. It's another oxygen for example, for content creators, for lawyers. You want to draft the submissions, you want to know issues for determination. You quickly run to ChatGPT, and it will analyze the issues quite fast, and it will be quite efficient. But now this brings the issue of data privacy. For example, if I am a lawyer and I put the data of my client there, how safe is it? How safe is that data? What if someone else, when doing research, comes across the data of my client? This brings the issue of confidentiality. Like as a lawyer, you have the right, you have the duty to ensure that you keep the confidentiality between you and your client. So as I have said, we did not come up with an act which catered for all these tools. So we still have a long way to go when it comes to coming up with an act that really prepares for the shift that we have taken as a country, as East Africa. And so I have seen there's an AI strategy which Kenya has come up with. It was founded in March, and it's 20 AI strategy 2025 to 2030, and it's just a formality. It has not yet come in force, and I'm really looking forward to a time when the AI strategy that does not only become a form, but an act that really equips the country with regulations that protect the data of data subjects. In brief, that's something that we really need to look at as a country, as an act that prepare that not only protects the investors, it also protects the data subjects.
Thank you so much, Brian, for those insights. And actually, drawing from what you're saying about the Kenyan framework, I'm actually very curious to hear what Simon has to say. Uh, and my question then to him becomes, what is the state of AI regulation in Uganda? And how can we, foster a harmonized AI, rather, sorry, an East African approach that we harmonize all these laws into one? So we have talked about the AI regulation in Kenya, and they are making great strides in the same. So what is Uganda doing about it, and what can East Africa, have a regulation that is harmonized?
Well, I can say for a start, Uganda is not bad off when it comes to artificial intelligence. We have had existing laws that may not explicitly be targeting artificial intelligence, just like the Data Protection Act, the Data Protection and Privacy Act. We have the Computer Misuse Act. And of course, I can't leave out the Constitution of the land because it is the supreme law, which they may not explicitly be providing for artificial intelligence, but well, at least they cover a little element of it. the government of Uganda has labored to cater for artificial intelligence, and I can say that we have the Uganda Vision 2040, which emphasizes the importance of science, technology, engineering, innovation as crucial drivers of the economic growth of our social society. And of course, we have the National Fourth Industrial Revolution strategy, which has an element of artificial intelligence, and I can say that the government is planning well. Of course, we also have the third National Development Plan, which identifies the promotion of digital transformation and the adoption of the fourth industrial revolution technologies, including artificial intelligence. So you can see we have already tried to provide for policy frameworks that can at least cater for artificial intelligence at the moment. Um, to say Uganda has a long way to go. However, if you already consider what we have at the moment, it can cater us for some time. There is need to develop a comprehensive and AI-specific legal and institutional governance framework to provide for the regulatory oversight of artificial intelligence and the diverse actors in the AI ecosystem. So, of course, we are waiting for the AI strategy, and I have great hopes that by the end of this year, we are going to have that strategy to cater for to give us a leeway or how we are going to progress when it comes to artificial intelligence in Uganda. That's what I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Simon, for those insights. And I really hope that Uganda does make those steps. They're important, especially in this day and age. So since you're talking about lawyers, because they're the ones who are essentially going to be drafting those regulations, uh, Godwin, I'd like to ask you a question. So you have experience on training over 100 lawyers in legal tech. So with regards to that, how receptive is the legal profession in East Africa to AI integration? And furthermore, what steps should East African lawyers take to responsibly integrate AI tools into their practice?
Thank you very much, Tabitha, for having us today. So, with regard to your question, this is something I've done now for quite some time, and I can say it's been a journey. Looking back to where I've come from with the Mtale solution, and especially with regards to training lawyers, at first it was really hectic because it was many lawyers are skeptical, like how can we use AI and all that. So it took more of having engagement, telling them the pros and cons and how to use it, And then you see one thing that has always come up is uh, lawyers and for especially Kenyan advocates are very funny. Like you talk to them and then you talk to someone today about how AI is important, how it can help them. Then tomorrow they read in the news and a lawyer in the US used AI or ChatGPT to draft pleadings, and then after filing they found out the cases were non-existent. The next thing they call you, I told you AI is not good. You see now in the US this is happening, now that gives them a reason for them not to embrace, So it's been quite challenging, but over time it's something that I've realized now the reception has changed. People are now embracing it. And speaking of that, today, just a few hours ago, I joined a webinar organized by the Kenya School of Law, themed Pupillage in the Age of AI. I think it was a timely conversation, and I was glad that it preceded our webinar today, because looking at it, the fact that now the Kenya School of Law is thinking about pupillage in the age of AI, it means it acknowledges that now pupils will be using artificial intelligence in the various stations, whether law firm or any other accredited institution. But the question is, how then are pupil masters prepared to handle pupils who embrace AI? And this is the question that you should be asking, because now that means we need to have more trainings, because you can imagine a pupil bringing a pupil master a document or any pleading that has been drafted by by the help of AI, probably legal research that has been uh, uh, done by an AI tool. how well, how equipped is this people master to go through to know whether that document is well generated or not, to ascertain whether those cited authorities are existing or not. Because people masters are meant to be mentors. They're supposed to guide these young advocates. So what happens when you have a young advocate or a young lawyer who is using AI with a people master who doesn't understand what how AI operates? It means how then is this people master going to guide this young lawyer? So we're supposed to shift towards like how then the people who are already in practice, how do they embrace technology? How do they embrace AI? How do they learn? And that's why you find Talex coming in to train these advocates to know how to use AI. Because one aspect that I've noticed is many advocates are very skeptical, because people don't want to have maybe to use AI and then maybe something comes out and there's a backlash. Recently, in one of the groups, for advocates, we were talking about AI. So there's this advocate who was saying, I used AI and then it gave me non-existent cases in my submissions, and I had already filed, only for me to realize they were non-existent question. And you see, now that begs the question: did that person use AI appropriately? Because the first thing should be, once an AI model gives you an output, you have to counter check, make sure the authorities that are there are sufficient or they exist before you submit. But you see, when you submit, now you want to counter check the authorities. You see, it's already counterproductive. So then, how do we go about it? How do we handle AI? So I think the issue is, even if you stop using it right now because it gave you an existing case, for how long? Because eventually AI is here to stay. And I'm happy that that thing came out in the conversation during the webinar I attended earlier in the day. Because now institutions are realizing this thing is here. We might fight it, but it won't take long. So at least people are starting to embrace. So you, as a young lawyer, you as an advocate who's been in practice for quite some time, what are you doing to ensure you are prepared for the future? Because one thing has always been, people are skeptical. AI is going to take away my job. But what happens then? You become skeptical. You don't want to learn, because eventually, whether you learn or not, it's going to take away your job. So how then do you leverage the same technology to be prepared in case you lose your job? Okay, so I think that's the approach that you should be taking. Thank you, Tabi.
Thank you so much, Godwin. You have really gotten into how exactly lawyers should be embracing technology, and specifically AI, and actually how to use it. So I think I would then refer lawyers and advocates to you for training for those who need help, because AI is supposed to help us, not really replace us. So I think then one of the issues that are important, and especially for advocates or lawyers for that matter, is with regards to matters on privacy and data protection. So Brian, I'd love to ask you this question. How exactly can we ensure that AI systems in East Africa respect privacy and data protection rights, and especially when where literacy is really low?
Thank you so much, Tabitha. Thank you also, Godwin, for explaining how lawyers were skeptical about AI. Um, Data is very sensitive, and when we have websites like ChatGPT, uh, we have to really ask ourselves every day: when you use ChatGPT, where does that data go? So the first thing I really advise the government is, when a website, for example, an app is launched, they have to like ensure that the websites are made up to the standards that protect the data of the people who use the search websites. So I would encourage that the governments, for example, East Africa, Kenya, Uganda, to come up with standards that each website should meet, so that we don't have, for example, I've seen Katiba Institute has sued Facebook, and they are alleging that Facebook is breaching the rights of people. And in today's ruling, the issue of jurisdiction came up. So I would like to ask, for example, if today you realize that ChatGPT has shared your data, where would you go? Of course, we have we have agreements we have agreements with other countries, but if the data subject is a Kenyan, they should go to a Kenyan court because the person who has been affected is a Kenyan. And in that respect, I'm really urged that as a country we should come up with our own standards that if a website does not meet the data protection policies, they should not be allowed to be they should not be allowed to operate in Kenya. And I would also add that the government should involve stakeholders. For example, if ChatGPT is launched in Kenya, we should ensure that the the app has been made to ensure that. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. I was talking about stakeholder engagement. We should ensure that when our website is launched in Kenya, the government has ensured that it meets the standards. It has respected the data. It has policies that. Can you hear me, Tabitha?
Yes, yes, yes. You're muted. You're muted.
Oh, I was saying that as a country, we should come up with policies and standards that each website should meet, and this can be used. This can be employed by having experts going through the website and ensuring that these websites meet the standards of the data protection laws. And those are just some of the two mechanisms that government can put in place to ensure that websites such as ChatGPT don't misuse the data of the data subjects.
Yes, thank you so much. And I totally agree with you. Our data protection laws are very important and they should be abided by. Whether we're using AI or any kind of technology, they should abide by our laws. And I'm really glad to see the Office of the Data Protection Officer, commissioner rather, being very proactive in matters to do with data protection and privacy, to ensure that at all times websites and people generally are supposed to abide by our laws. So when we talk about AI, mostly we are talking about mostly young people, because as Godwin had said, most people who have issues with AI and technology are usually the older generations. And well, when we talk about the young people, Simon, I'd love to ask you, how then can young legal professionals shape the future of AI governance in East Africa? Because it's high time.
Oh, thank you so much. Um, Young legal professionals are crucial in the shaping of artificial intelligence in Africa and worldwide. And of course, if you've been taking a keen interest in artificial intelligence, I would like to say the young generation are really leading it. If you look at the people who own literally even ChatGPT themselves, they are young people, which is inspiring. So I believe that various steps can be taken to ensure that the youth are at the front of shaping artificial intelligence or artificial intelligence governance in East Africa. But of course, crucial steps must be taken. For example, education and specialization. Young generations or young legal professions should be made aware of artificial intelligence so that they know they can learn more about artificial intelligence, data science, and other related fields that can benefit them and build them, so that at the end of the day, they make crucial decisions that impact artificial intelligence artificial intelligence, including its governance and regulation. Of course, this is by, of course, taking courses, attending seminars, um, attending workshops. These things can help to improve them and make them more aware of artificial intelligence and its governance. I would like to say that advocacy and awareness is also crucial. For example, at the moment, universities are kind of skeptic of embracing artificial intelligence. But at the end of the day, I think the question is, how does this impact or affect our youth? Because if they are denied utilizing or adapting these tools, at the end of the day, they are going to enter a market where they can inadequately cater for areas that are covered by artificial intelligence. So I think we should advocate for AI regulation, for AI adoption in institutes, and with this, I believe that our youth, we can have a market of legal professionals who are competent enough to use AI tools to improve their legal profession itself. The other thing would be pro bono work and legal aid, which I believe that if the youth equally participate in offering free legal services to communities that are affected by artificial intelligence, it will put them at the front of being made more aware about artificial intelligence and how it goes around and how it should be governed. I was I was at I had an interest in the Rwanda summit recently, and I think someone said if we are not careful, uh, people who are less aware of artificial intelligence might govern, might participate in the regulation of artificial intelligence, and in the end, all of us will be affected. So I believe if legal minds are made aware of artificial intelligence in the earlier stage, they can actually participate in using their voice to air out concerns and regulation and governance issues that require to be addressed competently. The other thing would be uh, collaboration and networking. And I think Kenyan guys have really done this the best because I've been seeing webinars, I've been seeing conferences, I've been seeing seminars on artificial intelligence, and really these events are making legal professionals more aware about the field of artificial intelligence and how it can be regulated and governed, which I think is good because at the end of the day, it is going to foster innovation and ensure that legal frameworks are aligned with the technological realities that benefit people. So I think that's another step that can be taken. The other one I would say is legal research and analysis. Uh, the young minds should participate in AI research because you realize if they participate in legal research and analysis, they get to be more informed about certain aspects of artificial intelligence they didn't know. For example, you can ask someone when ChatGPT became official, and they don't know about it, but it's crucial that they know about it so that they know what transpired after ChatGPT really became public. You get to know that, and of course, such research will help to fill the gaps that may be existing within the laws, within the whole thing. Which, and of course, if they participate in these researches, they can be able to discover the gaps and propose innovative solutions to the same. Finally, I would like to say, embracing technology. We should use these tools. We should learn how to use them well, because the ethical guidelines and principles are going to be implemented appropriately if we learn to use the tools well. Because if we don't use tools well, I'll go back to what Godwin said. We are going to have to fall in dilemmas such as our young lawyers citing non-existent cases, which will affect their reputation in the end. However, if they make themselves familiar with the tools, then they can be well equipped to use them in their practice. And of course, they will stand at the top of the chain of artificial intelligence. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Simon, for sharing your insights. There is quite a lot that the young people can do, and the technology space is very, very wide, and anybody, in fact, everybody has a piece in it, in one way or another. So, as he has emphasized, let all young people, or rather, actually, let everybody use technology and use it to their advantage. So I'd love to head to Godwin. Clearly, he is the one who is hosting this webinar through the Mtalex solutions, and we can all see that he also came branded using his sweatshirts. So then we'd love to hear, as your audience, really, your work in Talex and specifically on AI Magerezani, and maybe how that has informed your perspective on AI's potential in justice systems.
Thank you very much, Tabi. So even as I bring in the aspect of AI Magarazani, we're talking about uh, regulation of AI in East Africa. So because you see, one issue I've had is I think as a region we do so much. We wait for the West to come up with laws for us to copy paste, and that is the scenario with what happened with data protection. So I think at the moment we really have to look at what really works for us, because artificial intelligence is here with us. Then what the laws that we are coming up with, the regulations that we are having, how do they then fit into our jurisdiction? How do they meet our needs? Because, for instance, we have the Robotics and Artificial Intelligence Society Bill that was proposed in 2023, which still now is a bill. But look at the nature of regulation we're talking about. We're talking about artificial intelligence. These are technology that is evolving every day. So if you have a bill that has not yet been enacted into law and it was proposed in 2023, then how are we moving as a country? How are we moving as a region? So I think it's time that we have to be proactive. Then who's supposed to do this? At least here we are, all of us here are lawyers. So what is our role as lawyers in coming up with the proper regulatory framework? So what role do we play? Because we cannot, as we said earlier, we cannot run away from AI. But again, how proactive are we when it comes to regulation? Coming back to the issue of AI Magarizani. AI Magrizani is a groundbreaking initiative that looks at leveraging technology and AI, to be specific, to enhance access to justice for the inmates. Because for far too long we've seen inmates, people staying behind bars for 3 years pending trial. But what happens to this person? Because we have a society that stigmatizes individuals, because the society doesn't understand the difference between a convict and a remandee. So as long as someone has been behind bars for that while, when they're coming back to the society, they've already been profiled as someone who is guilty. But because we're living in a society that really doesn't understand how the legal procedures work. So how then can we leverage AI to fast track this? Because we're looking at our criminal justice system. Over 80% of inmates cannot afford legal representation. So if these people cannot afford legal representation, where does that leave them? So we have to look at, if you're going to leverage technology, how can we use AI to help these people be able to do legal research, be able to draft at least basic legal documents like submissions, be able to be in a position to self-represent, cross-examine. So this is what AI Magrizani aims to achieve. Because look at countries like Finland. In Finland, it is already leveraging technology, whereby AI is being used to have inmates connected to the outside world, but in a limited way. We have countries like Kazakhstan using the same to monitor behavioral change within prisons, so that to take care of issues like self-harm in prison, or assault of other inmates by inmates. So these are some of the things that we are looking at doing. So you see, now the problem comes in when we have such good initiative that aims to help the disadvantaged in the society, but we don't have a proper regulatory framework. It becomes a hindrance, because probably when you're approaching this government institution, they tell you, know, how do you intend to do this when we don't have a proper regulatory framework. So I think when it comes to the issue of artificial intelligence, we have to be very proactive because we have to have flexible legislations that now pays attention to day in day out changes, or rather how how technology is evolving every day. Tabi.
Thank you so much, Godwin. And it's totally true. AI is indeed changing lives, and I love the fact that you have come up with an initiative to actually help our prisoners who are in jail. I mean, that is also a call to everybody who's hearing us to equally use AI to come up with something, to come up with a solution, and to make our lives easier in one way or another, especially for our communities, because that is exactly what lawyers should do to serve the greater people. So I'd also love to go back to Brian. And Brian is a person who likes posting on LinkedIn mostly. And I really relate with his posts because I relate with his sense of humor. His posts always make me laugh, chuckle, and they make my day at times. And well, Brian, can you kindly tell us how you create legal content and how people generally can raise public awareness about AI risks and rights by using social media as you have?
Thank you so much, Tabitha. And I would like to say, when it comes to social media, you have to really know the strategy, know your audience. I cannot come and post legal jargon and expect that my audience will like the content. So, in data protection also, ensure that if you want to pass across a point, use stories, use funny stories, use stories that people can relate with, use stories that are interesting. You know, human beings have a really short concentration, and if you don't catch the first 30 seconds in your post, and then they won't read. So you have to ensure that you create stories which are interesting. Take time to create content, but create quality content that people will not only like but relate with you. Also in the data protection, I would really urge that if you are an expert in data protection, ensure that you don't use languages that are so much, they have so much jargon. For example, you're using language like data subject, data commissioner. You use languages that people can really relate with, people can know what you're talking about. Because at the end of the day, your clients will be people who are lay persons who don't know the language that you're using. So when you create content, ensure that the content that you create is plain English, and ensure that your language is so much is it's not complicated. It's just so easy for people to digest, easy for people to relate with you. Another thing I would want to say is that we need to like put such content in schools. Let us ensure that when people go to school, they learn about data privacy. They learn to use the for example, I've seen Godwin. He has a project where he wants to go and offer AI to prisons. You see, that's a good initiative because the inmates will learn. They'll be able to help themselves. They'll be able to draft pleadings on themselves. So those are some of the tools that the government can also employ. Ensure that there's civic education. Let's see chiefs going around teaching people how AI can invade their privacy, or how AI can be used ethically. And another thing is to ensure that there is stakeholder engagement, and let us ensure that the government as the professionals that can also come up with the with websites that are government generated that can be used for civic education. Let us see government coming up with websites that can educate people how to use. Let them give Godwin some work to come up with the websites that not only teach people but also educate them on the ethical issues about data privacy. Another thing I would encourage is to use, for example, ad books. Let us see ad books. Let us see magazines about data privacy. Let us see more webinars such as this that educate the public on the ethical issues about AI. Let us see, seminars teaching about people how to use data privacy. Let us see more of these things, that so that people can understand that data is really sensitive. We okay, I'm saying a very nice comment that we have a great moderator today. Yeah, let us see such content. Let us see people learning about data. Let us see people not neglecting data, because at the end of the day, data is so sensitive. For example, if I were to come to your laptop and see the people things that you have, and it will really invade your privacy. It's like your diary. You have seen cases where people have been companies have been fined because of using photographs of people. For example, you have seen the recent case of Safaricom, where it was found over 500,000 for just sharing an ID number of an employee. You can see data is really becoming really sensitive thing that we are embracing. So I would also urge the government, let us see policies, strict policies that really deal with AI. Let us ensure that the tools that we use every day are regulated by a written law in such a way that if I realize that my I and a ChatGPT does not have a policy to protect my rights, I can raise that issue in a court of competent jurisdiction. Let us ensure that people learn how to raise legal awareness. Let us ensure that people not only use ChatGPT to learn, but also they use ChatGPT in a way that is ethical. And in short, what I would like to say is that in as much as AI is a good tool, and it really helps us, let us come up with policies that ensure that our rights, our data is not being sold. For example, it's not being sold without our consent. And I love what Google doing is doing in matter of in promoting AI across the legal fraternity. Let us embrace them, but ensuring that these tools do not infringe the rights of our clients. Let us ensure that the tools that we use are not our enemy. Let us ensure that these tools are not only good for us, but also are ethically, and they have policies that safeguard our interests. Thank you so much, Tabitha.
Wow, thank you so much, Brian. I mean, as a data protection and privacy enthusiast, I totally relate with what you're saying. And I've actually been taking notes, especially in regards to using social media and reaching out to the layman and to everybody else so that we can educate them as well. Thank you so much for the insights that you're continually sharing with us. I'd love to go to Simon as well. So when we talk about tech innovation, vis-a-vis legislative processes, the question is, how exactly can we balance the two? I mean, we have tech on one hand and we have, legislative processes on the other. So how exactly can those balance?
Thank you so much. Balancing the rapid pace of technological innovation with the inherent slower pace of regulation poses, of course, a significant risk. And realize that also overregulation itself, whereas slow regulation may affect innovation, but also overregulation would affect uh, innovation. I think during the Paris summit, the Vice President of US, Vance, said that we should be careful on how we regulate artificial intelligence because overregulation could stifle innovation. So the best way to balance it would be a careful study of the atmosphere, which I think is the most appropriate. We should study, especially when AI is to be placed within our settings, for example, Africa. We should look at how it is going to be used and how it is going to impact people before we quickly regulate it, because quick regulation and of course over regulation affect each side on both sides. So I think we can employ an agile regulation which embraces a more flexible and um, a friendly approach. For example, we can, of course, create regulations that are flexible and survive the test of time instead of going to um, re, sorry, the word has skipped my mind. Instead of going to, sorry for that, instead of going to um, amend them, we can they can just survive the test of time. A good example, I think, is the GDPR. It's a global regulation that is has stood the test of time. It protects data privacy from the time it was created till now. It may not explicitly provide for artificial intelligence, but realize that it still provides for artificial intelligence, though it didn't provide for it. So we should employ agile regulation, such, picking an example from the GDPR. I think we should also promote self-regulation and industry standards. We should encourage industry associations to develop their own codes of conduct and best practices. Self-regulation can help to complement government regulation and help to address ethical concerns in a more timely manner. We should also consider continuous dialogue and engagement. Artificial intelligence is evolving very fast, and it's only if we continuously engage and engage with the stakeholders, with other countries, then best can we know how to really regulate it appropriately. Policymakers, industry representatives, academics, and of course, the legal professionals themselves, the civil society, they all should be involved in these continuous dialogues and engagement. Why? They know how the tools work, they know how they're going to affect them. Continuous dialogues and engagements help us understand the atmosphere when it comes to artificial intelligence. I think that's what I would consider as the best way we can balance the pace of tech innovation and with a slower legislative process. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Simon. I think you have hit the nail on the head with all that you have said. I don't think I have really anything else to add, but just say, yeah, definitely, I totally concur. Let's just go to Godwin. So, when we talk about red flags, normally we're thinking about relationships, yeah? So then let us think about our relationships, or rather, our relationship with AI. And so the question to Godwin becomes, what are the ethical red flags that you have personally encountered when developing or deploying AI in legal tools?
Thank you very much, Tabi. Even before I proceed, I really want to appreciate our viewers who are joined in. We have Eli Likuyani, who said he was looking forward to an engaging conversation. We have still Eli Likuyani saying, "You're a good moderator." Thank you for that. We have Stella Soke appreciating the thoughtfulness in AI Magrezani. And then we have Wycliffe Sunday who has a question for us, and I would really want to engage the panel on the same before we go further. Uh, Wycliffe says, how long will you take to make a proper framework? So we'll be coming to that question in a few. And then we have we have Dan Alwande saying great conversation here, intersection of tech and law. Thank you, Dan, for tuning in. And then we have Ruth Maina. Ruth Maina is saying a very engaging webinar. Just to add to the current AI issues, there's the use of AI to generate misleading or disturbing content. For instance, President Ruto and Murkomen in the coffin. So I think we'll start with the question of Wycliffe Sunday, then get to what Ruth Miner is saying before I address the issue of red flags in AI. So I think on this I want to hear comments from Brian, then Simon before we proceed.
Thank you, Godwin. I would answer the question on how long will it take to come up with a good legal framework to enhance AI and AI regulation. First of all, regulations for us to come up with a good regulation, we need all stakeholders involved. Let us have lawyers, let us have tech people, and then when these people come together, uh, people the lawyers can share the legal knowledge on data privacy and the rights of people, and that should be the guide uh, for people for parliament to come up with a well crafted policy, taking into consideration the rights of the data subjects and the ethical concerns. So for us to develop a good regulation, we need all stakeholders involved. Let us have the data subjects come up with their concerns. Let us have the tech people, the software engineers, and then let us have the lawyers from the legal perspective. And when all these stakeholders come together, we can come up with the regulations that caters for the needs of the people. The data subjects will raise their concerns, and then when all these things are put into consideration, then we'll have a regulation. It may not take it may not take a lot of time, because when we have stakeholders, for example, a regulation needs various stages. There's the stage where there's the stage of policy drafting. So before drafting the policy, we should ensure that the lawyers have been involved, the data subjects have been involved, the tech people have been involved, so that we have a comprehensive policy that caters for the needs of the people. It may take a few months maybe, but as long as all stakeholders are involved, I believe that that the regulation will be properly guided. It may take some time, but really I think it would be worth it. It would be worth it, because data is so much sensitive, and we cannot ignore. You cannot ignore the fact that AI is becoming every day. We are using every AI every day. So a few months maybe, and stakeholders who will be involved can come up with the policy. Back to you, Godwin.
Thank you very much. Probably I'll weigh in before I bring in uh, Simon on the same. Then I'll be handing it over back to Tabby to handle the next session. So I think on when us talking about how long it will take for us to have a proper framework, I think it comes back to the goodwill, because I believe we have the right minds, we have brains that would come up with a proper legal framework. So I think the issue has always been our rigidity in terms of accepting and embracing change. So we are very skeptical and we don't know what happens. And also the need for us, the aspect of us waiting on what the West have to do for us to pick a leaf from the same. Because one thing you have to understand is, yes, AI has been developed from the West, but again, we don't have to wait for them to come up with the regulations that will now give us a proper framework. Because then, if they're coming up with the regulation, it is to cater for their subjects, which is we are dealing with totally two different demographic, two different jurisdictions. So yes, AI is here. We are leveraging it. Then you have to look at what are the hindrances, or what are things that affect us. How then do we come up with the regulation fit us? If it's about data protection, our problems will not be the same as where the tools originated from. Because for us, our first concern will be, where is our data being stored? Whereas for them, they know it is within their jurisdiction. For us, we'll be looking at, where are the servers? If we input this kind of data in these tools, where does it go? Who controls the data? So then, how do we regulate the same? How do we put in the guardrails to regulate this? So I think it is just about us how proactive it is, and it doesn't have to take long, because it really saddens me that we still have the robotics and AI, artificial intelligence society bill still pending, when already now, because look at 2023, where was ChatGPT? How many advancements have come into ChatGPT up to where we are right now? By then, we did not have DeepSeek. Here we have DeepSeek taking strides. We did not have when. Where are we? So if that bill cannot cater for what is happening right now, I think, as I had said earlier, when you're looking at AI regulation, it's something that has to be flexible, that now changes with time as these regulations, I mean, as the tools evolve, so should the law. So I think, to answer Wycliffe's, and I think it can take as soon as right now, only if we have the goodwill to take that bold step of regulating, other than waiting on what the West has to do. I don't know what the situation is in Uganda, Simon.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Um, of course, just like I said, Uganda is kind of slow at regulation, uh, which uh, which only the legal framers are well versed with as to why there is a delay. Uh, However, specifically to this question, I think proper legal regulation of frameworks will take some good time. We may create regulations and frameworks, but the question is, do they stand the test of time? Uh, Majority of the frameworks that have been created, I'm well certain they are not going to stand the test of time, and that's why I think certain countries have gone back to the drawing board to really have to look into the frameworks that they created earlier, because early regulation, there is a way early regulations affect innovation in such a way that they may not specifically cater for future challenges that emerge. And of course, regulation itself may come at a later period, which may itself affect artificial intelligence. So when I consider that, I consider that the proper AI regulation framework will take time. However, with its time, if countries are able to form flexible legislations that will stand the test of time and provide for all emerging areas that may arise when it comes to artificial intelligence, that would be far better. That would be far better. So I think we should embrace the fact that regulation might take time, but what are we advocating for? We are advocating for frameworks that are flexible. We are advocating for frameworks that will stand the test of time. Frameworks that won't be shaken when artificial intelligence brings in a new field that we didn't provide for earlier on. So I believe proper regulation will take time. Regulation may happen right now, but the question is it proper regulation? For example, you realize there have been emerging areas when it comes to data privacy and protection, various areas emerging when it comes to copyright. And of course, when you look at some of these things, these were things that were provided for a long time ago. But the question is, do they sufficiently provide for artificial intelligence now? And the answer is no, they don't. They may try to, but they don't sufficiently provide for artificial intelligence. So that calls for us the legal framers to take their time to uh, to to find the most appropriate way to form regulations that are flexible and that will stand up the test of time. That's what I humbly submit and believe is the best choice or path to take if we are to really govern artificial intelligence while protecting the fundamental human rights. It will take time, but it will be worth it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Simon. Indeed, it will be worth it when the regulation is finally drafted and becomes part of our laws, especially in the East African community. So at this juncture, due to the time constraints, I only have one last question for everybody, and I just also love to thank the audience for continually interacting with us. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your questions. And kindly, you can continue to do so even as we start to wrap up this conversation. So, the last question is to everybody. We shall start with Brian. What exactly does responsible artificial intelligence look like for you?
Thank you so much, Tabitha. It has been quite an engaging webinar. I love it. what I would like to say about about having a good AI. Uh, First of all, you have to take into account the people who are using the artificial intelligence. You have to you have to cater for their rights. You have to take into account their data rights, the right to they have to consent for their data to be taken, and ensuring that the AI takes into consideration factors such as data breach, for example. What happens if there's data breach? Will AI continue running? Like, what are the safeguards which have been put for the people who use the for the people who use such websites? So I would like to highlight some of the things that for a person to develop a proper AI, first of all, make put into considerations the people who will use the AI, and ensure that their rights are protected and they are safeguarded, and ensure that in case of data breach, you have ways to counter. For example, you have ways to stop hackers. For example, you have such safeguards. And another thing I would like to say is to ensure that the government comes up with proper regulations that protect the data subjects, and ensure that compliance is mandatory. Yeah, that would really cater for so many problems that we have right now in terms of data breach and lack of compliance by the lack of compliance by the websites such as ChatGPT. If, for example, our website is found to be in breach, let us see punishment. Let us see some let us see punishments which are being enforced, not just by the book, but let us see them actually put forward. Thank you so much, Tabitha.
Wow, thank you so much, Brian. So I'd love to head to Godwin concerning the same question. What exactly does responsible AI look like for you?
Thank you very much, Tabitha. And as I respond to that, I want to tie it together with the question that Ruth Maina had asked earlier on the issue of President Ruto and Murkomen in a coffin. That draws us still to ethical use of AI. And when you're talking about that, you're looking at the aspect of deepfakes in AI. So deepfakes is a scenario where you let the AI tool to generate uh, probably images or sounds or videos that purports to be something that did not happen. So probably someone creates an image that looks like you and purports it to be you, or probably animates an image, maybe a video of you, maybe doing something that you ordinarily did not do. So then, as the users of AI, how do you then embrace ethical use of AI? So we have to. I'm a proponent of AI for good, whereby we can leverage AI for the good of the society. Whereas that doesn't negate the fact that there are people then who come to use AI for the wrong reasons, and that is something that now comes up with when you're using as a use of AI. How do you then differentiate between something that is real or something that is AI generated, be it an image, be it a sound, be it a video? So that now draws us back to proper learning on how AI works, the algorithms, how image are generated. How do you differentiate between a real image from uh, an AI generated image? How do you differentiate a real video from an AI generated video? Because you can look at some of the patterns, look at the movement of probably, let's say if it's the lips, you can see probably a voice has been cloned to sound like someone's voice. But if you look at the sound and the lip syncing, they might not match. This will be a number one indicator to show you that these are deepfake. Uh, Something like the talking about what Truth is addressing, the issue of people's images being put in coffins. You can really look at the image, the structure of the body or that is in the coffin, and you'll tell this is a wrong an AI generated image and not uh, uh, a real image, and that still talks speaks to the question of regulation. When you have a proper regulation, then we'll have guardrails in regards to if you misuse AI, what is the penalty for that? You see, once we have that in place, then it brings in the guardrails, because at the moment, because we don't have such, then people can use it for whatever reason. Some use it for fun, some use it to misinform, disinform. But if you have proper regulation that now puts in the guardrail, that now says if you use it in this way, then this is the penalty for the same, or this is punishment for the same. That's where the whole purpose of having a proper regulation comes in. So even as I take it back to you, I just want to also bring up this comment from Dan, who says, the next webinar, I would request you also consider tech people. Dan is from tech and project management. It would be great to have them share their perspective as far as the subject is concerned, of which I think it's a good concern. And Dan, we really appreciate you for always engaging with us. And the next session will for sure have people from the tech side also coming to share their insights. Tabi, back to you.
Thank you so much, Godwin. So I think at this point, I'd simply just ask whether there are any final comments, any final words or sentences you'd like to tell us. You could share. Let us just start with Simon. Any final thoughts concerning the issue as we wrap up the webinar?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Since this webinar was specifically addressing the legal field, I would like to just call on various youth or people out there who are interested in artificial intelligence really take the mantle and stand. It's worth participating in this long run because it's beneficial. We shall learn more. We shall, of course, benefit greatly. Benefit greatly. There is someone who brought the idea of the 1 billion solo entrepreneurs, and these were people solely owning companies that are providing artificial intelligence solutions. And I think Godwin is on that race as well. So I would like to advocate the youth to participate in this. Lawyers should come at the front, because if lawyers are left at the back, it's going, the regulations that we provide may not sufficiently cater for what people desire or what needs to be addressed. And of course, technical personnel can't be left behind because they're the ones who are creating these tools that we are using. So I believe all of us should take a stand, should give this an opportunity, a chance to participate in the governance, in the development, deployment of artificial intelligence. That's the best way we can benefit from this. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Simon. It's been amazing to have you for this webinar. Indeed, this webinar would not have been the same had you not been here. So thank you so much.
Thank you
Brian,
so much.
any final thoughts?
Thank you, Tabitha. I have learned a lot, and it has been quite an engaging webinar. My final thoughts would be, in as much as AI is good, we have to really put safeguards and regulations in place. We have to ensure that all these tools are monitored. Let us ensure that uh, our data is safe. The data of data subject is safe. Let us ensure that, in as much as we are moving forward, even the regulations are moving forward with the AI. Let us ensure that all safeguards and tools comply with the Data Protection Act. Let us come up with policies that are not only good for the people who make them, but also for the data subjects. Another final thing is that let us embrace AI. In as much as we are talking about regulation, let us embrace it, because it's going nowhere, as Godwin said. It's here with us. Let us embrace it, and in a responsible way. Thank you so much, Tabitha.
Yes, thank you so much, Brian. Thank you for your wisdom and sharing your knowledge as well with everybody who's been here. It's been lovely to have you. Godwin, any final thoughts?
Thank you very much, Tavi, for hosting us today, and to all our viewers who spared time just to listen to what we said. I'm really happy that we're having this conversation when it comes to artificial intelligence, and the fact that we're having this conversation, it means we are now embracing it, because there's a time that uh, we could not hear people talking about AI. But the more we talk about it, this is now what accelerates what you want to see, and that is the regulation within the AI space. Because the more people use it, the more it penetrates almost all fields, all industries. Then it necessitates for us to have a proper regulatory framework. So let the conversation continue in our various platforms, in whatever spaces that we're in. Let's have this conversation going on. Let's see how we can use AI for good. How can we leverage this technology? And on that note, I just want to invite all of us, even as we proceed, to support our initiative of AI Magerezani that is still on course. It was supposed to happen last month. We postponed it, but a new date will be communicated soon. Come in. Are you a tech expert? Come in with your expertise. How can you leverage your expertise to help our brothers and sisters behind bars? Are you a legal mind? How can you use your expertise to help our brothers and sisters behind bars? Are you, even if you don't have such maybe a specific expertise, how then would you come in? How, in whatever way you can support, be it in cash, in kind, whichever way that we can, let us come together, because these are part of us. These are people who've been with us in the society, and just because they're behind bars doesn't mean that is they're no longer part of us. They're still our brothers and sisters. Let us help them all together. Thank you, Tabi.
Yes, thank you so much, Godwin. Indeed, I'd just love to echo the fact that indeed AI is an amazing tool for everybody, and everybody should use it. But it should equally be regulated, but without stifling its innovation and its growth in East Africa and in the world across, really. And yes, I'd also want to echo what Godwin has said with regards to AI Magerezani. I'm also a volunteer, so kindly do join us, as well as Brian and others. Yes, it's an amazing initiative, and it's great to see what AI is doing for Kenyans. So yes, let us join hands and help with all these efforts. So I think at this point, we are done with the webinar. Thank you so much for our audience for joining us. Thank you for listening to us. I'd also want to thank our panelists. Thank you for your expertise. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you so much for making time to come and educate us as well. And finally, I have been your host. Again, my name is Tabitha, and yes, have a lovely day or night, and maybe continue with these conversations in the future.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.